Final ending, Part 8, The Ultimate Paint Peeler. This morning erupted. I have no idea why things escalate so fast around her. It started simple. She woke up before me and grabbed the baby who was crying. I heard them get up and just laid in bed for a few minutes. A few minutes later he was still crying and she made a comment about how she couldn't deal with him crying for 3 hours again this morning. I hopped up to go help out and get him just as she rounded the corner with a bottle. I picked him up and took him back to bed so she could relax and not deal with the baby. Thought I did good. About 45 minutes later I got up to make breakfast for everyone and to get the Christmas decorations out like she had asked me to do last night. Everyone seemed content. I made food, put it all out on the table, and called everyone in. We all ate and talked about going to buy a fresh tree today, still good. Yet everything went horribly wrong. I said something about the tree lighting that we were going to go to tonight and she said that she didn't want to go. I told her that was okay. If she didn't want to go with the rest of the family, she could stay home. It was almost immediate. She slapped the table and started yelling at me about how everything always has to be on my time and how I am just controlling and trying to force her into doing things she doesn't want to do. I told her it was fine. Me and the kids would go and be back in a few hours. She continued on into how it will be cold and she doesn't want them to go get sick and it will just be miserable out and no fun. Then she stormed off to the back of the house still yelling about something and that she was just going to pack her bags and leave. I sat there at the table in total disbelief about how things went from cool to uncool so fast. I walked back to the bedroom to see if she was packing and she proceeded to tell me another dozen things that were wrong with me. I ignored it and tried to stay on the issue but it didn't work. She told me that no matter what she is just staying miserable and needs to just get out. I told her to just stay and if it was that bad, I would go check into another hotel until my tenant gets out. She just would not calm down. I explained to her that I was doing everything that I could around here to keep the peace. I stopped talking about us. I stopped talking about the future, and I am staying on focus about having a better life, but it just keeps derailing each time she loses it over something small like today. She proceeded to tell me that she spent most of yesterday thinking about checking into a hotel, taking a bunch of pills, and just killing herself so she would not have to deal with any of this anymore. She kept on about how this new me was not real, how I still said things that hurt her feelings, and how she was just going to leave now and come back years later to tell the kids the truth about who I really am. At one point she got right up in my face and started screaming for me to get out of the house, but I stood my ground. I did tell her that she should watch it right there. She was about to cross a line that she would regret if she got physical with me. Instead, she just beat the hell out of a picture in the bedroom and just kept screaming for me to go. I was running late for work so I had to leave. Her plan was to pack while I was gone and leave when I returned. I went to my part-time job and they all agreed that nothing was going to happen today so I was sent home 30 minutes later. I sent her a text to not leave with the kids. I would be home soon. On the way home I called one of the suicide hotlines to ask them what I should do. I really felt like she would leave today and be dead tomorrow. They suggested talking to her and getting her to go to the doctor today to get evaluated. When I got home, she was trying to leave with the kids to go get ice cream. I pulled her aside and tried to see just how serious her hurting herself was. She told me that she had no plans on hurting herself. She still had 2 kids to raise when I fell apart and decided to stop caring again in a few months. She said that she only wants to be left alone to see if she can remember what I bring to the table and if she can miss me again. I told her that I am trying my best given our financial situation and I would lean on the tenant to get out so I can go ASAP. I also told her that the me that she is seeing and being so upset with it, the real me now, whether she likes it or not, that will be the man who leaves and the man I hope she misses. If she would just calm the hell down for a bit and not provoke fights, then she could understand. There is no way she will miss the me that she keeps turning me into. She will miss the me that I am becoming. I told her that I hoped that we could be adults about this and make it to Christmas, but I could not live having good day then bad day over and over for the next month. Anyway, she agreed that it was a bad feeling but not something she intended on acting on. She also said they were going to run and get ice cream and be back later. I still don't know why I agreed. She did ask me who I called about her threat and I told her it was an anonymous 800 number and they told me to try to talk her into going to the doctor today. They had no idea who I was or who she was, but they said that she needs some sort of help and maybe some medication to help her calm down for a while. She then informed me that she went ahead and started taking the Zoloft that our doctor prescribed her 6 months ago. I think the situation today scared her as well. Well, her IC is almost 2 weeks away but he started her Zoloft today so maybe it will kick in faster than normal. She took off her rings while I was away and got super pissed that I went and put them in my pocket. After she put the kids in bed she came back again and started with the questions so I just told her the truth. I had some sort of anxiety attack. I got to thinking about how today was totally shot by 10 a.m. and then it escalated to the point where you wanted to fight me physically and then you put your rings up. I just was not mentally prepared for that today. I had put a lot into having a good weekend with the family and it all blew up before I could stop it. So yes, my anxiety kicked into overdrive and here we are. I am sure I babbled on a bit more as I calmed down and when I finally looked over at her she was crying as well. A bit later she left the room and I had myself a good old-fashioned come apart once I was finally alone for 10 minutes. It felt good. I have been holding on to a lot of junk for the last month and it needed to get out. After I cooled off, I went back to the room where we had put the tree up and we hung out a while and watched some TV. Like the previous night, no texting, no messaging, just us hanging out. I pushed the issue and sat down behind her and wrapped my arms around her and pulled her back to me. I told her that I should have done this a year ago when she started just playing on FB at night and I started working on a new hobby and she agreed. After a few minutes I let her go and just sat and talked a little while. I talked to her a little about what I had read about the Zoloft and that it may take a while to kick in but it should help her with the rage issues that she has currently. She said she is just looking for something to take the edge off when she is around me so she doesn't feel like yelling or fighting with me constantly. She also showed me her hand where she had bruised the hell out of it punching the wall and beating on a table today. Seriously, she flips a switch and hulks out now. I told her that I read up on the side effects to look for since she did not research about it and gave her a list of stuff to look out for and to let me know as soon as she notices any of it. I really hope she is one of the few that feels some relief after a week or so and not 6 weeks or so. Anyhow, before I left the room for the night, I asked her if she wanted to just come on to bed, get a good night's sleep, and cuddle up with the kids in the morning. I told her that I wouldn't kick her out of the bed or sleep on top of her. I just missed her being where she was supposed to be. I knew the response that I would get before I asked, but I just wanted to push her issues like she has mine. I didn't really look over at her, but I saw her silently crying out of the corner of my eye for the next 10 minutes or so. Finally, I got up, admired the tree for a minute, talked about some of the old ornaments, and left the room to fix a broken decoration. A few minutes later she went back to our room and got dressed for bed, came in the living room, and laid out her stuff on the couch for sleep. Like I said, I knew it was coming but it felt good to let something out instead of just being hard all night. I sat back down for a few minutes and finished a sandwich, then told her good night, and off I went. Who knows what lies in wait for me tomorrow? I usually lie to myself at night and say that some progress was made, but I can't do that this evening. We are both home until 1 p.m. tomorrow, then I have to go in until 9 or 10. She goes in at 8 p.m. and gets off at 2 a.m. I had things planned for Sunday after church, but I really do not know if I have it in me to go on with it. I sort of want to grab my laptop and find somewhere quiet to just work for 8 hours. No wife, no kids, just me getting some stuff done. I know it cannot be all me. She continues to put it all on me and I know it is because I am the closest thing. Even when she recalls the things that she has been upset over for the last several years, she finds a way to put it on me. I have learned here that I cannot argue against her perception. If she thinks it's my fault that her life has fallen apart, then it is. One of the things she continued to argue yesterday is that I keep talking about our relationship. I told her that I am still sticking to my agreement to not speak about it with the exception of our counseling night. She is supposed to stop doing things to provoke me and I am supposed to stop questioning her perceptions of things. I left her a note last night after she went to sleep. I won't really get into what was in it, but it had nothing to do with any of the stuff between us, no promises of anything, or any plans for the future. It was just friendly and welcoming like the notes I left her all the time when we first met. I can only assume that is why she came to the bedroom this morning and hung out and played with us again. Today we all laid in bed for hours being silly, but I could see that she had a lot on her mind. So, here I am, laptop in my lap, baby shoved in beside me sleeping, daughter snuggled up with the wife and watching shows and the wife getting her nap in. This was my life 4 months ago and for 12 years before, and it is a good one. She has accused me several times of being controlling. A lot of the things she saw as controlling I saw as me making decisions because she was very indecisive. It is really bad now because she feels like she is in control of herself for the first time in years. Hence the sleeping in the other room, the taking off her rings, her deciding when conversations end by spazzing out to make me leave the room. When we argue, she calls me controlling because I do not just allow her to make false assumptions or accusations about me and my motives and feelings. I stand up to her, I am controlling. Sigh. Back to the start, I do believe that if she starts to feel the edge come off, then she will continue the meds and manage them once I am out. She thinks she is going to turn into some sort of step-forward wife by taking these meds. I have fed her all the things to watch for and kept the talk to a minimum as to avoid scaring her or so she doesn't feel like I am pushing her in either direction. I do not want to talk to her about the alcohol interaction because she may see it as some sort of ploy to prevent her from hanging out with her friends. I also don't want her to get a week into treatment and stop because she feels like the occasional beer is more important. It's really an impossible decision to make. I'd have a friend tell her, but I know she is keeping it under wraps, and if anyone talks to her, she will know that I mentioned it. As for do I wish to stay with her if she remains depressed? Well, she stuck with me for the longest, and I do believe that marriage is forever with the exceptions of physical abuse or something really extreme. If she starts to come out of it or starts to fall apart, I would still be willing to help pick up the pieces. I still love this woman, more so now than I did 6 months ago. She is the mother of my children and the person I committed to forever. I will be beside her as long as I live or until she forces me away. She did the same until she felt that I had forced her to quit me. I can't see why she would step up any sort of drama to force me out since I am out as quick as I can get my other house in order. She said something peculiar today that I just thought about though. I asked her to do something with her rings other than leave them in the jewelry box on our dresser. I told her that with it being the time of year that people frequently break into houses looking for presents, I did not feel comfortable with them just laying around the house while we were gone. If she did not want to wear them, then I can put them in a safe deposit box Monday while I am out. She told me not to worry about it since it was her rings, but she would take care of it. I also told her that I hated that it got to me that she took them off, but in a decade, she only did that when she was too pregnant for them to fit. She told me that for the longest time I did not wear my ring every day and that it really only bothered me the first time that I did it. She is right. I used to leave it sitting on my computer keyboard or on the nightstand for days at a time and never thought about it being hurtful. She then told me that I am not hurting for the same things that she hurt for over the last few years. I have noticed a trend where she seems to be replaying all of the things that I did to her, but in the position where I was. Working late, going out with friends and staying later than planned, denial of affection, not wearing my ring, not answering the phone or texts, and bottling up in general. It is like she is running though it all to let me know how it felt so I can hurt like she did. The question is, will she eventually run through her list, and is she seeing if I will stick around like she did? On a positive note, I am finishes with school in about 4 days for a month and a half. I can't wait to have that free time again. So, I haven't really talked a lot about it, but her ex-coworker still makes me really nervous. I have tried to deny that in the past, but over the last few weeks it has made me increasingly nervous. She had a bit of a work crush on him 6 years ago or so, but we talked about it and it went away. Now they text, but it is innocent stuff. From what I know, they speak a few times a week on the phone. I can't say how I know, but I know their conversations are innocent enough. Pretty much all of their texting and FB chats start with her talking to him. There are no weird middle of the night calls, and she hasn't been sneaking out after we go to bed. He also has had plenty of occasions to meet up with her while she is out, but rarely doing. He seems to be intimidated by me and sort of panicked when he saw me downtown last week near where they worked. This guy is not relationship material, so I write him off. He makes about $25K a year, lives in a crappy duplex, spends most every night getting drunk alone and downloading music, and really doesn't appear to ever want to go farther than that. He hangs out with mostly women from what I get and really doesn't hook up with any of them. He is in pretty much everyone's friend zone. His typical set is getting up at the crack of noon, drink a case of beer, watch football, pass out, or walk to the bar. Here is why it makes me nuts. He always wants to talk in person about his problems. He had some kind of problem on Thanksgiving and would only talk about it in person since it was so hard to talk about over the phone. The day after our last MC appointment, the one where things appeared to be leveling off, she sent him a message that she needed to talk to him face to face. He had been one of 2 people that my wife has really talked to about us, so I do not know if she wants to get his opinion on us or if it's just my brain thinking she needs to discuss something else. Common sense says it is to discuss what may happen if we reconcile, but my brain is getting the best of me. I quit reading her messages, but I scrolled through them right in front of her last night, and there was just nothing there other than wanting to meet to talk and wanting him to come to the Christmas party and him saying no. I pushed her to start seeing her friends on a more routine basis so she wouldn't feel like she was missing her friends and panic on a random Friday night and go out until 4 a.m. mad. I convinced her to go tonight, and after messing with her for 3 days about go out, she finally did. I really want her to have her friends and be able to go out without fear of me spazzing. From what I was told, she showed up at the bar with her female friend and this male friend. It is never the 2 of them alone. She has to work in the morning, so she can't be out all that late, and there is no way that I am waiting up or calling later. Anyhow, she came across a message to a totally platonic female friend of mine where I joked about taking an ex-girlfriend to Mexico at the end of the summer if things didn't work out with the wife. We even laughed about it after I typed it. She took that as my plan, so that sort of blew up. It didn't help that I had just talked to my buddy in Mexico last night while we wrapped presents about hanging out in Veracruz this summer. I even told him it would be me and the wife or me alone. Anyhow, that was a long talk and I didn't even really understand it. She has wanted me gone, but the thought of me meeting up with some random chick from my past is a deal breaker. I sort of lost my cool. I explained it all to her. What she felt was what I felt each time she was sending texts back and forth with guys being flirty. I told her how she almost got one guy beat up and that if she had stayed any longer at his house one evening, I was about to load the kids up, come over there and wreck this poor guy, whether he had done something or now. Also, the offer still stands if I ever feel he is out of place again. I told her the offer still stands to any other guys that I feel are out of place. I am totally over this beta acting BS and being some nice guy while I feel abused. I brought up the crap physical life and the lack of physical love. I agreed that maybe I should have just let her go the first time she pulled this stuff years ago, and I should have busted her ass the first time she decided it was okay to get emotionally hung up on someone outside the marriage. I also explained that I am busting my ass to be gone on the first just so a few weeks later she cannot come back and say that she knew I wouldn't go. She told me that she has told me 3 times to stay, but I apparently haven't heard her. I told her that if she had been reading this, my Facebook, and my texts, then she knows exactly what I am looking for and what to say to stop it. She tried to explain about the friends and going out, but all I could say is the disrespect over not calling and not coming home on time is a deal breaker for me and I cannot accept it anymore. We may not be right for each other if my feelings aren't taken into consideration. I understand 10 to 15 minutes, but 2 hours is just stupid. Hook up with your friends at 5 p.m. like normal people, have dinner and a couple beers, be home at 8 to see the kids. I really do not know what else to say. I told her that I get that she has issues with some stuff from the past, but she needs to worry more about right now. She has 6 days left. Right now, things can be fixed. When I get out of the door, I cannot promise anything. I really have no idea where she is at now. This was all before 8:30 when the kids woke up. She spent time in bed today and is passed out on the couch. Since the family left, things seem normal. Few weeks later, big update. I start a new job in 9 days. It is not my dream job, but it puts me about 10,000 off where I was before I was laid off. It is in the food industry, running a restaurant for people that I worked for many years ago. I am going to still work part-time at the club I was working for in order to save up some extra cash. I'll be working as a pastry chef, which will allow me to blow off steam and for them to say they have a pastry chef on staff. My other house is ready to move into with a couple quick purchases that could be loaded in my truck all at one time. I am really not sure what to do with it yet, more than likely sell it, but like I said, it's been crazy around here. We are divorcing this summer. We have not set a date for it, but we are going to go our own ways after school is out. We have not ironed it all out yet because we are waiting until after my training and until the new restaurant is going well enough to not need me 7 days a week. We both agree that it is in our best interests to do it. I have learned a few things in a few short weeks. The biggest thing is that my wife will never be able to be intimate and supportive of me, and I will never be able to support her emotionally and domestically like she needs. Neither of us really trust each other after the last year, and it is simply not getting better. We are not fighting really anymore, but it's only been a week. We finally had a discussion that led to the making some admissions about her feelings and me doing the same. She accused me of being a cheater, and between her and her counselor decided that my cheating is the reason that I stressed out this summer, not my job. That offended the hell out of me. I have never cheated or even thought about other women the whole time we were together. She also told me that she hated me and the thought of being with me. I think she sort of exaggerated because she later said it was a figure of speech, but I got the point. She also admitted that she just cannot be intimate, not just with me but really with anyone, and it did have to do with some old issues. To make a long story short, I gave up. We are trying to get along and doing a good job. Last night we hung out like buddies for a couple hours talking. She really seems upset that I have resolved to call it quits, but I cannot figure out why. She does not like that bonding is such a big deal for me, and the lack of it and inability to go back to it was finally a deal breaker. If all goes well, we hold out till June and actually become friends for the kids. She said she's in no hurry to divorce, she just wants to find a new place before the school year. What a difference a few weeks makes. I assume there will be issues between now and then. She is actively house shopping and wants to find something to put an offer on by midsummer. I may be enabling somewhat, but it's more of a relationship of convenience for us both right now. Neither of us are increasing our debt, and we are both getting to spend time with the kids. It is basically a friendly environment. It is a little sad to not have the old marriage, but deep down we know we would just mess it up again or stick it out just to be miserable when the kids leave one day. I really do not think that I am in the mood to date. There are a few girls that have been attentive lately, but I just don't really care to mess around currently. We talked about dating and agreed that we would not rub it in each other's face and that we would be honest about when we start. No sneaking people into the house and always being home before the kids wake up. I will also be working 7 days a week for a while, getting a restaurant open and still going to school. When I am off work, I want to sit with the kids or see my buddies, not deal with woman drama. When the summer gets here, I am sure that will change. I'll expect to date before my B-day in July. Bonding is really not going to happen here. She told me things that explain a lot of her physical issues in the last week, and I can better understand her dislike of it. It did not change anything between us, but it did shed some light. I can't imagine her rolling over asking for bonding. If she did, it would be a huge setback. I don't know if I could do it. It was so hard to accept the loss of our marriage, and I don't want to falsely feel like I have some of it back. She thought I would give her some sort of space and she would figure out her life and how we fit together. He says she never intended for this to turn into a divorce, just time apart to miss each other. In her mind, I went too far this whole time. I overreacted at the start. I tried too hard to save it, and now I quit on the marriage once I decided that she could not give me what I need from a mate. Earlier in the week, she went on about how she was trying to do things faster since I had moved on and needed to see other people and find a new relationship. I told her that wasn't the case. There would be new people and I would be dating in a few months or at worst by the summer. I'm not pushing her out or rushing the papers. I am just over the marriage. Maybe in a few years we can revisit things, but we know that we cannot currently make each other happy. I keep getting the feeling that she regrets this whole mess, and she says that she wishes that my needs weren't what she dislikes and is uncomfortable with. It is a reality check. She's realized that she is broke and unable to support herself and soon to be divorced and alone. I realize that I am soon to be single and will have lost a mate that I could have saved if I had tried 2 years ago. We both realize that we may not ever be capable of happiness together, but we could ink out a mediocre marriage with love but no passion. I guess what isn't going over is that we have agreed it's over. She put off some strange signals the last week or so and I started to worry. She seemed sad when I left to travel for work the other day and had choked and made comments about how I just up and decided it was divorce time. It made me panic a bit because we were content with a path laid out. It felt to me that she was starting to have second thoughts and I really didn't want either of us to hope for anything or regret anything. I brought it up last night and we sort of fell apart. These kind of talks always turn bad and never solve anything. It ended where we were when we started. We are bad for each other. We should stay cool until June. We should start staying nights at the other house to warm the kids up. I finally told her that part of me knows that in 6 months we will both feel like crap about this whole thing. I wasn't pushing for a divorce because of that. We may both get a couple dates under our belt and see how good we really had it. Who knows? We both admitted that we have certain prospects. Hers is still the guy she used to work with and mine is someone that she has never met. That we plan to date either in secret now or in the open eventually. That's still rough for both of us to talk about. Neither of us know how it will play out in the end. We went a bit further into who gets what and who gets the kids. It turns out she doesn't want to share the kids. She only wants me to have them twice a week. I understand that if we end up in court in our state, I will end up with them every other weekend and have to be happy about it. She was also under the assumption that I was going to refuse to pay her any support. She said she only wants me to pay her half the kids' expenses, insurance, daycare, lunches, and activities, which added up to less than what I was offering to pay. We also debated what to do with this house, again, and still agreed to sell it and split the money. The only questions that are left are my property that I inherited and some money that I hold in an estate account, which looks like she will leave alone. We have the divorce mapped out and who is getting what. It should be smooth. We plan to file in July for tax reasons. Next year we will each claim on child for taxes. I am supposed to see our lawyer sometime in the next few weeks and get the ball rolling. Aside from that, I have the new place mostly set up. I am sleeping there for the first time right now. I have tons of work to do out here still. I plan to stay a few nights a week and keep increasing the time each week over the next few months. My daughter is warming up to staying out here, but she wants mommy to come too. I guess I will start dating or taking a shot at it in April or May. It's been quite a while since there was any action at home, so it's time to get to work again. Also, after spending the night at the wee house the other day, I realized being single isn't so bad. Lots of free time and I can get more stuff done. I am looking forward to spending a few nights there next week and taking my daughter at least one night to warm her up to it. I still need a fridge and a washer, dryer, but aside from that it is totally livable. Starting to feel my way around new women again. I've met a few over the last couple months at work and online that may be quite a bit of fun. So, as it appears the divorce will happen in July, I'm going to write everything up for my lawyer to get started on in the next couple days. We have talked most of it through and we seem to have covered all the normal stuff. She wants something in writing about us being separated now so we do not try to make adultery claims between now and July. I hadn't thought of it, but she's right. I believe the person she wants to date will not do anything while we are technically married. There is also a female that I plan to see next month after she moves back to this state. I'm excited. Work is still cruising right along. I got a compliment from the regional director on the impact that I have had on the store that I have been working out of while mine is finished. That's only cool because she rarely does that. My store will be up in around 5 weeks. It is crazy. Things seem to get better each day. There are some things that I just chose to not disclose here, but all in all, life has turned 180 for me since September. The director of culinary management for my company called me today and hinted at training me to take his position so he can move into a new role. We hit it off quite well at a grand opening last week and he called asking me to come to one this weekend as well. If all goes well, I may have an extremely good job in the next 6 months. I really do feel like hard work, refusing to be drugged down by the negative around me, and prayer have put me in this place. I have been seeing someone recently. We actually dated a few times as kids when we were wild and crazy as hell. She recently divorced and moved back to the area. We do have fun when we hang out and it's refreshing to be around someone that isn't invested in me or my life. I briefly met her kids a week or so ago. They are well older than mine, but I have yet to introduce her mine. We have sort of hid out and kept things private. My friends that know, and my coworkers that have met her, seem to like her and are surprised that we are so much alike. I am waiting for the new to wear off before I get emotionally invested in anything though. I had a long talk with her about how I was fine dating and having fun, but I could only go so far emotionally. She understands my point of view, so we avoid a lot of emotionally charged talks. We were quite volatile when we dated before, so I want to make sure that we have grown out of that before I get past the having fun stage. Update: I am still settling in with the old girlfriend. Our kids get along great and we get along smashingly. We see each other a couple times a week and we get the kids together every few weeks. It's strange to be with someone that gets you and just lets you exist. I know it changes later, but this is the same sort of relationship we had 17 years ago but with less angst. I've started weightlifting to go with running. It is totally addictive. I can't wait to get to the gym each day. Life is great. A little background on the girl I am seeing. She was my high school sweetheart. We dated off and on until about a year and a half before I hooked up with my ex. We had big plans on getting married and settling down, but it didn't pan out at the time. We were in two different places in our lives. As luck would have it, we became friends online a while ago and started talking in our free time. It turned out that she was mid-divorce about the time that I moved out. A few months later, she decided that she was going to move home from another state so her and her kids could be closer to their family. It was really quite strange being face to face with her again after 15 years. Things just fell back into place really fast and we realized that maybe we should have just calmed down and cleared up our drama years ago. One thing led to another and here we are. It is really healthy. We have many common interests and now we are both old enough to ask for what we want and to give each other space. We both also really love kids and both always wanted a huge family. We are 7 deep now everywhere we go. Divorce time. We have finally agreed to everything. I am expecting the paperwork to be filed in the next week and to be divorced before the holidays. It really is a relief to have this over with now. I start full-time at my new job tomorrow. Talk about a totally different life a year later. Every time we speak, she even tells me how it pisses her off that my life is wonderful now. I know ex-wife wanted to cheat. I know, and she admitted that she had emotional affairs with at least 3 guys. She was at least respectful and waited until I moved to back it up though. She still maintains that she only wanted me to move out for a month or so and then everything would be okay to work out. I'll never believe that. Ever. Another small update. We agreed to child support today. I had a friend of a friend that works for one of the local judges do the math and give me what the monthly payment will be. That was the last piece in the puzzle. Hopefully she will get the papers finished in the next week so I can be divorced by Christmas. On the dating front, things are still going quite well. Some new plans on where our relationship is heading and how we plan to get there. I still find it strange how easily we fell back into each other. Several people that knew us each time we dated said that they aren't the least bit surprised that we are back together since we were going to be married a year or 2 before I met my now ex. She totally puts it on me now since I just moved out and moved on. After she said she wanted to be divorced about 10 times. After she told me she hated me over and over. She more acts like the divorce are a surprise. Never saw it actually going to happen. I've often felt like she was going to test the waters with the guy she is hooked up with right now and then jump back to me when it failed. My comment: she must be depressed by the news of your new life, but it was her choice. All you can do now is be a cheerful co-parent. Your new relationship is a source of happiness that will allow you to be more relaxed towards her, unless she insists on being needy and unpleasant.